Give me a chance to dissect. I could probably do this. I'm here to tell you about 4 games I found that SuperHorrorBro never even touched, and reasons as to why he probably won't. I have done my research and selectively picked which one goes first compared to which one goes last. This is from least favorite to favorite, so without further hassle, number 4, Ao Oni. He is supposed to be considered a blue demon, but it is possible that certain translations for certain colors are different, meaning sometimes the translation sounds the same, but it's not supposed to be, and you'd only be able to tell the difference if you yourself also spoke that language. So it's a Japanese horror game, and like I know the majority of Japanese horror games, they're usually really good. I mean, Japanese horror movies in general as well. If I had to pick a place where the worst games come from, it would definitely be America, because they have way too much freedom for every single citizen. As for the game's plot itself, I only saw the beginning of it from Bijou Mike, and to explain it in my own words, it seems one would have to investigate the mansion that this group of friends are trapped in, basically. There's a library, a bathroom, a bunch of different hallways, all have enough room to run from the Ao Oni, which is pursuing them in order to probably do what most demons do, shred the human flesh, maybe possess one of them. I'm not entirely sure about the origin of this creature. I'm not sure if the game itself has much of a story, but it looks interesting and like a solvable and enticing mystery. As for why SuperHorrorBro wouldn't play it, probably because it's from 2008, and I don't know if it would garner as much views as he would want it to, but Bijou Mike said the game was pretty popular. But that was about 3 years ago. I can imagine that people would want to see HorrorBro play it, since he might do a theory video on it. He played Alice, he played Mad Father. I'm sure this game would just add to a list of old classics. Moving on. Number 3, Ebe. Ebe is also an older game, which I would not have heard about if it weren't for Espoir slipping a mention of it in one of her playthroughs, which was probably a couple years ago as well, but it stuck with me. It's a 2012 game about this 8-year-old or 9-year-old who is trapped in a museum by some kind of mind-screwed artist. It's an art museum. I don't know the exact purpose of the game, but the art looks great. The story concept must have been amazing for it to have gathered as much fan art as it did, and as I like Fran Bow for focusing on Fran Bow, yet not her entire childhood, I think it could be something like that. Now, I don't know if there's much reading involved, but the closest as a representation I can come to this visual experience would be Mad Father. This one represented more the psychotic state of the father and what happened to the mother and how the little girl is a retard or a narcissist for not wanting to confess that there's something grotesquely upsetting about her father's behavior. I hate Mad Father because that thing traumatized me. However, the reason I consider Ebe to be different is because she is at the museum with her family and gets separated from them. Since she's 8 or 9, the story won't focus on her childhood or her dead mother since her childhood is currently in the making and her mother and father are clearly still alive. It's a great horror classic, and everybody loved it when it came out, and I think SuperHorrorBro should play it for the sake of not really having anything to play as of recent. Other than Boris the Lone Wolf, I won't complain since I actually kind of like that game. As for why he won't play it, I wouldn't be surprised if Mad Father also probably traumatized him. Considering Ebe is constantly compared to Mad Father, it would be sort of difficult to convince someone with PTSD of that awkward game to try and do this one as well, but I don't think it'll be as uncomfortable as Mad Father, since Mad Father felt like this little girl was justifying her father every step of the way, no matter what she saw of him. To put it in simple terms, it felt like watching a victim of molestation justifying what her abuser did to her just because she considers him a friend. It's awkward, uncomfortable, and her being 12 years old feels really wrong. Not to mention how he literally raised a little girl he picked up off the streets, and then when she was a little older where he could find her body attractive, he started having sex with her. But I have faith in Ebe being safer than that, so let's just cross our fingers for that one, I guess. Number 2, Kindergarten. Man, this list is going fast. Sorry for that. Now, I know what you're thinking. This isn't a horror game. Well, the website itself states that it's a comical horror game about the traumatic system of preschool. Yes, none of these kids are actually mentally normal. They don't interact normally, and the faculty are constantly visually abusing these children by exposing them to subjects they should have no knowledge of at their age. They are 5 years old. The game can get disturbing at times and will introduce interesting plot points and gets one addicted to the gameplay method since it gives room for trial and error. Something I think SuperHorrorBro will really appreciate, and I think he could have a lot of fun with a game like this. So the main character is dragged around the game doing tasks for his fellow classmates and getting in danger along the way. Since this situation is a whole government conspiracy, yet instead it's actually just a faculty conspiracy. Since considering to the child mindset, faculty members are usually considered like the government, right? Because they control the system in which you are learning from. As for why he wouldn't play it, obviously view count is important because this is how our dear SHB makes a living. Unless of course he has a Patreon, but still, views bring in more money. But I think he'd enjoy it, I think society would want to see it, and his input on the story in general would be really interesting. And I'd like to see it, obviously. Okay, number 1, White Day 2. This one is important. The Flower That Tells Lies. Now, he never played this one, but if you've seen the first White Day, you'd know that it circles around high school drama, paranormal activity, and ghost stories. As much as gossip. White Day follows this boy who follows his crush into the school late at night in order to return her diary. Man, that's a dedicated boy. This ends up being a mistake when he faces countless threats. Not only the ghosts themselves and the current objects, but the janitors roam around the school looking to knock him out with a baseball bat. If that description was bad, I'm sorry, I can only give you so much. But as for the sequel, I don't know much about it, other than the fact that it takes place at the same school. Man, I know nothing about any of these, do I? I mean, it's still a bunch of teenagers, and even more paranormal mysteries follow. You're probably wondering, why would SuperHorrorBro play the first game and not come back to the second one? Am I mispronouncing that? Since he's always so up to date when some really terrible game comes out. No offense to Poppy Playtime, but the last game was just really overcrowded, terrible, Poppy's annoying. Yet he kept up with that. I mean, I'm offended, actually. I love this game, and he never went back to it. It's been a year, and it's kind of annoying, but I won't hold it against him since I would defend him to the ends of the earth for his dedication to the horror genre. What I will say is, one of the reasons why I'm assuming he hasn't played it yet is because he doesn't know about it. Which wouldn't make a lot of sense, since one would think he'd keep up with a game that so clearly would need a sequel in order to be resolved, especially considering he's been kind of complaining that he hasn't had anything to play. But, I love White Day. Above all the games that I have mentioned before this one, and would love to finally get to see what it looks like through SuperHorrorBro. Yes, somebody else probably did play it. But I don't like other gamers, and I don't watch gaming content for fun. I watch it for research purposes, and because I kind of like SuperHorrorBro. And most of the YouTubers I watch are for parasocial purposes, because I don't like making friends with real people. At the end of the day, these are optional missions, so SuperHorrorBro can always choose to dip. I wouldn't blame him for not being interested in certain things, since that's what being human is all about. He has no obligation to pay attention, only to remain entertaining us with his presence, and in more ways than one, I am grateful for his presence on the platform, since he serves more purpose than most gamers with his dissections and analysis on various games. So this is the end of my little road trip down things I think SuperHorrorBro should consider playing. Oh man, that was fast. This video is a mission and a half, since to me, SuperHorrorBro is like my Taylor Swift. He's my Ariana Grande, my Lady Gaga, that role model in your life that has inspired you since you met them, since you were able to pay enough attention to develop that attachment to somebody else. I'm gonna try harder to delve into more personal subjects, but I think you guys can tell I'm at the surface of my psyche, because I'm still a bit nervous about human reactions. I spend a lot of time outside, not inside friend groups. I'll have something for you guys in about a week, maybe. And if you watch SuperHorrorBro and only went into this video to see the options I had, then you can kind of decipher whether or not you prefer these games or if you know of any games that I haven't mentioned. Maybe one day I'll do another one of these and go searching on the internet for other horror-related games. Why is it so awkward ending this? Okay, end note, which is off script, so this is gonna get a little awkward for me. I made this video on a limb. Basically, I came up with it in a day's time. The script is not 100% perfection. I did take most of my information off of Google because I'm terrible with games. I'm terrible with the internet, but I kind of did try a little harder to input personal opinions, but obviously I don't really have a lot of personal opinions on subjects I haven't really been faced with. Also subjects that don't really affect me in general. Again, it's really awkward to end this. I just don't know how to end it. Well, I guess have a great day, and don't forget to watch SuperHorrorBro's content because he makes a lot of dissection videos, theory videos. Amanda the Adventurer was really well done. I really like My Friendly Neighborhood. No, wait. Yes, I think it was My Friendly Neighborhood, right? Yeah, I would assume so. That's Not My Neighbor. He played that game before, which was also really popular, so I'm assuming you've already seen that one. And he also plays said technician, Chilla's Art. I love Chilla's Art. I don't know why. But yeah, that's the end of the video then.